1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Am I too loud? Am I too loud? Hold on. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me know if the audio is okay. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you can hear me. Jordan Sheridan.
Jenn dies. A very sleepy Jenn.
A sleepy Jenn.
Very sleepy. I'll tell you guys why.
Any relation to Sleepy Joe?
Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Jenn. Yeah, we're Delawareans. It's what happens there.
Yes. Well, no, you have good reason to be sleepy, which we'll talk about. Yeah. Boy, what a 24 hours, Jenn. Jenn actually didn't see, but
Jenn's mic is
Jenn
bad.
audible, but not great.
Did you do like whatever happens?
Oh, that's your mic. Oh. Talk now, Jenn.
Testing. Can you guys hear me?
Keep going.
Yay. Yeah. So when people are still saying it's off.
No, it's delayed.
When
Keep
more
talking.
people get here, I will go into why I am so tired. Like so tired. But yeah, I kind of want to wait a little bit because it's pretty exciting. Some people I think will have like probably the wrong takeaway about what I'm going to say, but that's all right. Well, I'll get into it.
Sell out.
Get ready, guys. Jenna's sold out. So pretty pumped up about it.
Let us know in the super chat if the audio is all set. It looks good on my end, and I think it's better on Jenn's end. We hear you, Jenn. Wonderful.
Yay.
So,
Smash the like button, guys. Get more people into this stream. YouTube continues to suppress us. No shocker there.
we got a lot to talk about today, and not a lot of time because if you haven't heard, 7:30 Eastern time. So in 2.5 hours, 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific. What's going on, Jenn?
About when? What do you mean?
Tonight.
Now? Oh.
Hello.
Sorry. I totally, guys, my brain isn't working. I'm so tired. So tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to have a members call. So fun. One of our Ask Me Anything members calls for our patrons and statusquo.com/join members, and it's going to be great. So Jordan and I usually on Zoom, but I'm here in person today. We are going to answer all of your burning questions, and John's going to come too. John Farina, who does some freelance video journalism for us. We just got back from a very long reporting tour, which you guys know because you've been watching Jordan talk about it, but I have been away, so which I'll tell you why. But so I haven't seen you guys since then. But the reporting tour was incredible. John did fantastic work, and to pat ourselves on the back, I think Jordan and I did great interviews, and these stories matter so much. So yeah, it's been a lot. But so we'll talk about the behind the scenes of that trip. The behind the scenes of a story we're working on that will be I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry guys. Yeah, that'll be out soon, published soon, hopefully.
This live stream is going to be a little.
No, I'm not pregnant.
This live stream is going to be a little shorter, so Jenn could get a nap. So let's before we get into the stories, let's talk about. We were on our road trip for 2 weeks. And what happened after the road trip? Where'd you go?
Okay, so some of you know this, but I actually was at a training all this week, 10 hours a day, early in the morning to 6 p.m. It was a New York Times. New York Times adversarial reporter training. So my big announcement is I'm leaving to join the New York Times. No, that is not my announcement at all. So this is actually pretty exciting for me, and it was a great week. It was a great training, and I'll tell you much more about it. But this was something that one of our viewers sent a link to Jordan to like apply to get into this training. So it's a training for New York Times reporters, but they opened up a few spots for freelancers. And in order to get in, you had to like show your work, show what you've done, show that you are someone who reports on dangerous adversaries. And so, you know, in this application, I sent them, reporting on George Floyd protests. I sent them the write-up that the Press Freedom Tracker did on when the cops attacked me at the protest. And I sent them Jordan and my Flint reporting in Vice and The Intercept, as well as, you know, things that I've done just throughout my time, throughout our time of having started this company. So I was so grateful to be, and kind of surprised, honestly, to be accepted into this training. They sent us like topic lists beforehand. And so I was really excited, but really cautious. I didn't know what it was going to be like. And obviously we talk a lot about, the corruption of the corporate media and the fact that legacy outlets don't cover the things that we cover. And there's a reason we're independent. So to kind of break it down, it was run by the security team at the New York Times, and they brought in various experts to talk about different topics. This was intense stuff. I should have actually sent Colin.
I love this one. You should. Curious One says you should train them on how to do better journalism, Jen.
I should have sent Colin some pictures from this. Actually, maybe I can in the meantime, and he can like pop them up. But so they trained us on things like active shooter scenarios, reporting in wartime situations, which we're domestic reporters, but I learned so many valuable things. Like in these, we literally did. We put on, PPE. We put on, I've learned to not call them bulletproof vests anymore because they're not actually bulletproof. But we put on, protective gear, and we had like mannequins, like weighted mannequins. And I had to opt out of part of this because of my long hauler, but like dragging mannequins out from war zones, doing tourniquets, stuffing bullet wounds so people don't bleed out, pressure bandages, CPR, what to do if there is an active shooter, really intense situations. And literally like it's the New York Times, so they have the funding for this, but they literally had like the mannequins were talking, like they had speakers coming out like, help me. And they were like throwing stuff at us, as it like throwing golf balls at us and like dropping things on our head as if like the building was falling down. So they really made it, and it was like dark, and they had like flashing lights, like you're disoriented. We had medical kits. It was really intense.
Wasn't there fake blood?
Fake blood. So they had like so they had these plastic things that feel like flesh, and then they had like bullet wounds, so-called, in them, and they had a tube running through, so they would squirt blood out through the so-called bullet wound, and we would have to stuff the wound, pack the wound to save someone's life. And the medical stuff, like, I was not excited about before going in, but I am so grateful now to know it, and so valuable. We also...
You said you could save my life now.
I can save Jordan. And so it's really valuable information. I truly think that every reporter should know this stuff who reports on the things that we report on. Also, they had experts come in and speak on a variety of topics. They had someone named Portia Chavon, amazing. She is with the Bronx Defenders, which is this great large group in the Bronx in New York, and she defends a mostly like young Black population. So it's like these young Black men getting caught up in the system. And so this was so eye-opening. Maybe I'll do like a members video, like getting into each of these topics, because I don't want to take up forever talking about this on this stream. But learning about how the system actually works on the defense side, and how it's rigged completely to innocent, guilty, whatever. It's rigged against the defendant in really disgusting and horrible ways. There were folks with extensive law enforcement training, and they straight up told us, like, here's how we trick defendants and get them to like incriminate themselves, or here's what we do in interrogations to like get the answer we want.
Coerce.
So and their tactics in protests, like here are the police tactics, and so that insight was really valuable. It was a weird dynamic to hear like the defender and law enforcement talking about like their dynamic, like in reality. Fascinating stuff. Digital security. Different reporting scenarios and like risk mitigation, coming up with like, okay, what are the risks here and how can I take care of those? Like reporting on wildfires, reporting on protests, also doing like deep dive investigations, like who are your adversaries in this and what can they do against you? Reputational damage, PR campaigns, financially, access, like denying access, going after your sources. There were legal, like the New York Times lawyer did an extensive talk on like legal things, legal protections, how to protect yourself as a journalist, which is so important for us because we report on people who don't want to be reported on and who don't want to be investigated. So I have nothing but praise for this training. That's why I was joking at the start of this that Jenn sold out. Like I would text Jordan Thirst like, this is so great. Like I can't wait to share this info with you. So the group itself was awesome, I have to say. These are New York Times photojournalists, video journalists, reporters, editors, a big mix of people. These are the people, though, like, because it's adversarial journalism training, like, these are the folks at the Times who do go out in the field. Did
you then train them on actually how to do adversarial reporting?
So this part surprised me because we're a small and scrappy outlet. You know, we're status quo. We're funded by you, the people. And in coming up with these reporting scenarios, they'd be like, okay, what do you do if there's a Proud Boys rally? Like, how would you approach this? What do you do if there's a Trump rally in 2020? What do you do if you're reporting in Portland in 2020? And I had a lot to say about a lot of these scenarios because I've literally done them. I reported at a Proud Boys rally. I've reported at many protests. I've, reported at a lot of adversarial situations. So I had a lot of insight, which surprised me because, like, you're at the New York Times. They have all the resources in the world, which I learned just how extensive those resources are. Pretty wild. And yeah, it made me proud of us. It made me proud of Status Quo because we're doing it. We're doing this work. We know what this is like. That's not to say I didn't learn anything. I literally typed up 57 pages of notes by the end of these 4 days. So learned so much, met some great people. I do have additional things that I'll say on the members call about reporters and what they kind of deal with, like passionate reporters who do care about people and who wish they could give the microphone back to the people, but so I'll give some insight into that as well.
When is that members call?
The members call is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so in a little over 2 hours, and it's an Ask Me Anything member call, so you'll get the behind the scenes scoop, and it'll be good.
So if you're a Status Quo member through our website, you know the drill. You'll get the Zoom link. If you're a patron, you'll get the Zoom link. We're going to try to figure out a way to get it to our YouTube members too. This is the first time we're doing it since we launched YouTube membership.
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. We don't. I want to make this very clear. We email our members, our statuscoup.com/join members, the link to the Zoom. Also, we email that to our patrons. YouTube, if you're a YouTube member, which you should join now, there's a join button right underneath this video. It does not give us a way to contact you. So we're gonna post maybe only this time because it is not something that we promise for YouTube members. So either way, this time I will make a community post, so the community tab post for YouTube members only, so that you can access that call as well.
And I got news for you. Tonight's going to be a good one. We got a lot of stuff to share, and I think we have some things to talk about that other people are going to want to talk about, and some things to reveal for our members. So stay tuned. In a little over 2 hours, you'll get the link.
We just got some good news, some news of progressing something that's taken months to progress. So join to find out about it.
And by the way, 2 things. Number 1, somebody asked, where could I get that short Jordan? Right under me.
Jordan.
Right under me. If you don't know, if you scroll under the live stream video and under the description, we now have Status Coup merchandise right under. I don't know. With the summer, I want that Status Coup tee. I want that tote bag to go to the beach. I want that pillow. I want that. Don't know what a lot of these things are, but click on it and find out. I want them all. So that's another great way to support Status Coup and rock our swag. Also, for the people I'm seeing aren't getting notifications, what else is new?
What a shocker.
If you didn't get a YouTube notification, email info@statuscoup.com. info@statuscoup.com. Take a screenshot of the live stream, then a separate screenshot of your notification queue. So you have a notification queue on YouTube where you get notifications from different channels. So send us the screenshot of the live stream, screenshot of the notification queue, which you won't have an alert from us, so we could show that, and also your YouTube username and the URL. So if your YouTube username, you should have a YouTube page, the URL at the top, which is youtube.com/whatever. Also want to say, oh, new YouTube member, Kane Juice 305. Woohoo! Also want to say, and we're about to get to the Nina Turner topic.
Welcome, new member. I'm uploading photos. I'm not paying attention to you.
By the way, yesterday, maybe my rant inspired some people. My rant on the TMZ-ification of independent progressive media. We got 18 new members yesterday. 18 new members yesterday. Huge day for us. Colin, if you have the graph, we're now at 1,890. 1,890 members. I don't know. I think we can get 10 new members before the live stream to get to 1,900. Before the members call, I think we can get 10 more members. Before the members call, sign up right now, statuscoup.com/join for as low as $5 a month, and you'll get invited to our members call tonight.
Hey, Colin, shout out to Colin behind the scenes. Colin, I just texted you several pictures from my training. If you can pop those in StreamYard and let us know and we can show them.
And Lisa says you will send Zoom link, never logged in or did a member call yet.
Yeah, so we email you the Zoom link. And so check your spam or whatever. If you happen to not get it and it's 7:25, just email us, info@statuscoup.com. And I'll send it over to you.
But a lot of times it goes to your spam, so make sure you check it. Jen usually sends it, right before the members call?
Yeah.
Right before.
Yeah.
So if you don't get it, email us at info@statuscoup.com. Last PSA, smash that like button, thumbs up right under the video. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see this. And share this live stream so more people could see it. So, Jen, you didn't have time probably to read the whole thing, but I sure did. Nina Turner campaign for the Ohio 11th District. And by the way, after the Nina Turner topic, Jen and I have some thoughts on the progressive movement becoming a cult.
Well, I think obviously not the entire progressive
Not the
movement.
entire progressive
and
movement.
obviously not, we're not talking policy at all.
Yes.
We're talking about the extremely online progressive space.
Yes. So we'll have thoughts on that because I think it's getting out of control and self-sabotaging the progressive movement. So, Nina Turner.
I need to find a way to put my feet up.
Nina Turner, who, I don't know where the thing is. Nina Turner, who by her campaign's polling is up 35 points against her opponent, Shontel Brown, for Ohio's 11th district. I interviewed her on our most recent road trip. Got a lot of shit for it, but interviewed her. That's up on our channel. So she's up 35 points, according to Nina Turner's campaign's polling. And her opponent has no grassroots fundraising base because she's just another dime a dozen corporatist. And all of a sudden, as Nina Turner's momentum is huge, primaries in August, so just a month. Hold on. You could go upstairs also. I think there's a feet rest.
No, it needs to be like hot.
Oh, okay.
By the way, guys, just so you know what I'm doing, I'm having like some long hauler symptoms, and my feet are swelling because I've been getting edema. So I've been instructed to rest my feet up. So that is what I'm doing. You're behind the scenes.
Yes. So basically, Nina Turner, if the election were held today, according to the polling, would clobber her opponent, and that's why the corporatist establishment is rushing in like Mel Gibson in Braveheart. So first we had Hillary Clinton. Thank you, Ann, $50.
Yay.
Super chat. Ann, I live in Canada and support Tim Black, Katie Halper, and Status Coup. I appreciate all your reporting. Thanks so much, Ann. We really appreciate it. Love you in Canada.
That's amazing.
Love you
Ann.
in Canada. Also love your maple old fashions.
Yeah.
I was in Canada a few years ago.
Vancouver's maple old fashions.
Unreal. So, Hillary Clinton first. Oh, all of a sudden, Hillary Clinton's interested in the 11th District Ohio congressional race. She jumps in with an endorsement of Shontel Brown. Then you have James Wrecking Ball Clyburn, who literally saved Joe Biden's political life, as Joe Biden was literally on his political deathbed before the South Carolina primary. Now James Clyburn wants to jump in to Ohio's 11th district. I understand apparently Hillary Clinton, James Clyburn are now Ohio natives. They are so concerned about the poverty, homelessness, evictions, water problems in Cleveland and Akron. Cleveland and Akron, Ohio is the district that Nina Turner is trying to represent. So they had to endorse, which they knew was going to get a lot of coverage. So Clinton, Clyburn, my money, I think Obama will endorse Shontel Brown, Nina's opponent. My guess is 2 weeks before the election to throw a real monkey wrench in because he likes to do things kind of at the last minute when it will have the most impact. For good or bad, Obama is wildly popular in that district, which is a majority black district. Frankly, votes for establishment Democrats for the most part. Marcia Fudge, who was the congresswoman that there's now a special election to replace her because she was named a housing and urban development secretary. Marcia Fudge won the last election for that seat in 2020 by 60 points. So it is a blue district. So you got Clinton coming in, Clyburn coming in. We assume other heavy hitters. With that, now there's super PACs on the airwaves attacking Nina, including Democrats for Israel. So I didn't know Cleveland was a hotspot for Jewish issues. And another super PAC. And obviously with Hillary Clinton's endorsement, James Clyburn's endorsement, there is going to be a rush of corporate money coming to Shontel Brown. So, just got a new member. Salty.
Yay.
Hey, yo. Let me give a shout out. New Status Coup member. Luke. Luke. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And Nicholas. Woohoo! Actually,
Amazing.
we just got two new members.
Potentially Lucy, because
Lucy, yeah. Nicholas and Lucy. We're now at 1,892. 1,892 Status Coup members. That's 8. We got the call in 2 hours. And when I say call, it's through Zoom. Oh, boy. Hold on. Oh, there we go. When I say the call, it's through Zoom. So you will see my ugly face. You will see Jenn, Colin, John, the cameraman, and we usually go for about hour and a half, 2 hours. It's a lot of fun. So sign up. Hopefully we can get eight more members to sign up so we can get to 1,900 before the call. So all of this is going on.
Yay! Welcome, Andrew Carroll.
Oh, a new YouTube member too. Woohoo! And remember to smash that like button. We got 260 people watching right now. We could get that number up, but you need to smash the like button. So obviously, Hillary Clinton doesn't give a shit about the 11th District of Ohio. James Clyburn probably doesn't know where the 11th District of Ohio is. And the rest of the corporate cavalry that will be coming in for Nina Turner don't care about Ohio either. But this is not necessarily about Ohio per se. What do you think it's about, Jen?
Obviously, it's about coalescing around corporate Democrats, the status quo, not actually achieving anything, continuing to being beholden to lobbyists and donors, an effort to continue to hold back the average person.
Well, I think that's a nice way of keeping Nina Turner the fuck out of Congress.
Yeah.
This is about keeping Nina Turner, who I know there's progressives out there who don't like that she's not campaigning as fire-breathing as she did for Bernie. Don't like that during my interview and other appearances, she's not hammering the Democratic Party. She's not. Yes, it is Dennis Kucinich's district. Yes, I think Dennis Kucinich has endorsed Nina too. Don't like that she's not calling out the Democrats, calling out Biden, being scorched earth, and have suspicions about that. I get it. But frankly, just from a pure political standpoint, she's actually running a really smart campaign. And some people might say, well, if you change your rhetoric or change whatever to win election, then you're a sellout. I don't agree with that. We've already talked about that at length, the criticisms of the interview we did and the things she said. I don't think that makes you a sellout. You can't actually. I believe there's significant ways to achieve success outside of electoral politics, which we've talked about, including hopefully a general strike at some point. But in electoral politics, the only way you can achieve change is getting into office. Now, that doesn't mean anybody worship Nina Turner. That doesn't mean don't criticize her as a candidate if you want. Doesn't mean when she gets in there, all bets are off. And if she doesn't champion the policy she said she was going to fight for, and then fight for them, including playing hardball, then she's just another dime a dozen politician that we need to hold accountable and pressure. But nobody has a crystal ball. All we know is if during my interview, this is not an opinion, this is a fact. Oh, I think we just got another new member. Hold on.
Wow.
It's raining members.
Also, Luke clarified it is Luke, and he's French. Welcome, Luke.
Oui, oui. Welcome, Luke. Okay. So if Nina Turner, Jen.
Bienvenue? Is that? I don't remember how to say welcome. I took 7 years of French. I don't know any French.
Yeah. If Nina Turner were to start running ads attacking Joe Biden, or during an interview with me attacking Joe Biden, attacking the Democratic Party, what would happen is essentially Nina Turner would be Bernie Sanders. Nina Turner would be Bernie Sanders, which we're about to show an article that shows they're trying to Bernie Sanders, and that's a new phrase, Bernie Sanders, Nina Turner. So if she did all those things, yeah, it would make progressives happy. We could cheer her on. Yes, we hate the Democratic Party. Yes, purity, all that stuff. But in approximately 2 nanoseconds, there would be attack ads all over the TV airwaves of Cleveland, of Akron, saying she's not a Democrat, saying she's divisive, saying she's attacking a black woman, her opponent. And, the old tricks. Nothing about policy, just character assassinations and smears. And frankly, that stuff works. Particularly since, in this case, not only would the local media pick it up, the national media would pick it up, because the national media has an interest in keeping her the hell out of Congress too. So I don't really blame her for not running a crusade against the Democratic Party when she's trying to get into Congress in an area that literally votes for the establishment Democrat every time. And also, the last establishment Democrat that won by 60 points. So if you don't recognize that, we just fundamentally disagree. But putting all that aside, Axios. Axios, which is like now the new wave Politico. It's kind of like Politico's bastard stepchild, or I don't know. Axios came out with a piece today that there's been a lot of horrible political pieces on Bernie, on Nina, on AOC. I really haven't seen a piece this bad and this transparently what the goal of the piece was, other than this story in Axios. If you could pick it up, Colin, we're going to go through it, and I'm going to explain to you why this literally was about linking Nina to Bernie and trying to hurt Nina in that congressional race. Let's see if you have it, Colin. The headline, Liberals Sour on Bernie. Liberals sour on Bernie. So let's read it. Some progressives are distancing themselves from Bernie Sanders, leader of their revolution. By the way, this piece was written by Alexi McCammond, who was hired recently as the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue, but then was fired right before starting because it came out that she had not only did she have a relationship with, actually, I don't know if this is why she was fired, but it came out before that at Axios, she was covering the campaign while having a romantic relationship with Joe Biden's press secretary that wasn't disclosed. So you're basically covering a campaign, including Bernie and Biden.
No, so they put her on a different beat, and so it was like a dramatic thing. The getting let go before she even really started at Teen Vogue was a different situation.
Right.
Like having people were digging through her old tweets, and she'd said not good stuff. I can't remember specifically, so I'm not going to say. But so here she is doing what she does.
Right. But she also said they found tweets from the past.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't recall specifically, so I don't want to.
Right, but I'm saying separately to that, it was found out that while covering the campaign, she did cover the presidential campaign. So Bernie, Biden, other candidates, she was in a relationship with Biden's press secretary, which obviously that's a problem. So let's get it, Colin. So.
And then he harassed a reporter, and he had to leave.
Yes, her boyfriend harassed a reporter, and on. Some progressives are distancing themselves from Bernie Sanders, leader of their revolution. The big picture. 3 factors are fueling the shift. So let's just start right here. Jen, journalistically, I know you're tired, but do you see an issue with the phrasing here? What stands out to you?
Put it back on the screen. Hold on, folks. So I don't know what you're getting at, but I think the framing here is obviously to show that, some progressives are distancing themselves from Bernie Sanders. They're trying to make it clear. The vibe of the article is Bernie equals bad is the gist, I think.
So the core thing, and Colin, if you could highlight this phrase for me. Some progressives. I don't know if you've ever watched an hour of Fox News. Fox News has made.
You know that I have.
Fox News has made a living for the last, 20-something years. Some people say Barack Obama is a terrorist.
Some people.
I don't know who they are.
Who are
but
these folks?
Some people say that Bernie Sanders is a communist spy. Some people say, actually, I think Outfoxed, which was an amazing documentary a long time ago.
I want to see that.
With Robert Greenwald and Brave New Films. They did a whole reel of Fox News and the Some People Say, which is basically just a way to pretend you're doing journalism by giving your opinion. And it's okay for journalists to give your opinion if you're transparent. This is my opinion. But really what Some People Say is just a way for partisan hacks to pretend they're doing journalism and citing sources when in reality, they're just pushing a narrative. So that's the first part that is totally transparently stupid, because this story is not a news story. It's just a narrative, a political narrative that a so-called journalistic outlet is trying to push. So let's move on. The big picture. 3 factors are fueling this shift. Some feel he's not pushing President Biden far enough to the left anymore. He, meaning Bernie. Some believe his time as the movement leader has simply passed. Some fear tying their brand to Sanders is a gift to opponents to weaponize in crowded primaries or in general elections. And they're instead weighing the merits of aligning more directly with Biden. We are 2 paragraphs in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 sums, and yet to have a direct quote from anyone.
Right.
Yet to have a direct quote from a human being saying this. So take that for what it's worth. Driving the news, even some of Sanders' closest allies, like Nina Turner, his 2020 campaign co-chair, who's running in a hotly contested August 3rd Democratic primary for a special election for Ohio's 11th congressional district, haven't been running with his endorsement front and center. So let's go there, Jen. Colin, if you can highlight hotly contested. Hotly contested. This is fun. We should do this more often. I don't know.
Oh.
Colin, Jen, with hotly contested is a poll showing Nina Turner up 35 points, which is why Hillary Clinton's coming into the picture, is why James Clyburn is coming into the picture. Is a 35-point lead a hotly contested race?
No, not at all. And I think even, a 3rd grader could tell you, no, that does not seem hotly contested.
It actually doesn't seem contested. And by the way, to be fair, campaigns do their own polling. Oftentimes they push it out. It's their own polling. It doesn't mean they're lying, but it's not completely scientific. It doesn't mean that there could be other polls that show it closer. But 35 points is 35 points. Even if other polls, there were other polls with similar sample sizes and actually polling similar people, she would still be up substantially, whatever the number was. So Axios is trying to create a scenario here that some people, we're not going to tell you who, some people are saying Bernie Sanders should go hide in a closet. Which that's a separate topic. I have my criticisms of Bernie. Jen does too. Definitely, Nina's not running on being a Bernie Sanders ally. Why would she? Not because anything's wrong with Bernie per se, but she's running for Ohio's 11th district. Like, who cares about Bernie Sanders? What does that have to do with the issues important to Ohio's 11th district? Maybe towards the end, she might do a rally with Bernie Sanders. Who the heck knows? But they're trying to make connections, and basically what they're trying to do, which is very transparent, is link Nina Turner to Bernie Sanders because they want to Bernie Sandered Nina Turner. They want to Bernie Sandered or Bernie Sanders Nina Turner. I just made a verb out of nothing. And it worked. This is like one of the more, and we haven't even gotten to the worst parts. This is one of the most sleazy pieces of junk journalism I've ever seen. So then they bring Nina into it that, she's hiding Bernie Sanders. Well, she's running ads in Ohio's 11th district for Medicare for All. She's literally running ads in Ohio's 11th district championing Medicare for All, starting the ad with the fact that her mother died at 42 years old, in part because she had no health insurance. So, okay, she's not mentioning Bernie Sanders, but she's championing Bernie and the progressive movement's, one of its chief policy priorities, and she's up big. Let's continue reading. What they're saying, quote, when I'm knocking door to door, people aren't asking me about endorsements, Turner tells Axios. The race that I'm running is about Ohio 11, and I'm the one running this race. So, Colin, if you could show this 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, The first quote is not actually from the Sum. Because all of this is some people are saying, some people think, some people. The first quote is from the target of your hit piece, Nina Turner. So the whole narrative is trying to connect Nina Turner to Bernie Sanders with nothing to back it up. I don't think it's a secret. He endorsed her. They have a relationship. Nina Turner admires him. I don't think it's a secret. But the whole premise of this is to basically connect Bernie and Nina, and that Bernie's out of favor with the progressive movement, and essentially to, again, try to do to Bernie Sanders what they did to him twice to Nina Turner, but they're not citing anyone. And then they go to Nina Turner, hey, do you have a comment on the bullshit narrative we're pushing? That's how this works.
Right.
So what there's Turner is running on Sanders' liberal agenda, but not his name. Again, it's
why would she?
It's clear as day what they're trying to do. Get Bernie Sanders as far and wide into this story as possible so that they can then do, and I guarantee I'm going to sign up for her email list. I'm going to sign up for her opponent's email list just to confirm this. What they're going to do, her email list is going to blast out this Axios story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The email list, politicians, supporters of Shontel Brown, political allies in Ohio. And I'm sure Shontel Brown's campaign will blast out this Axios story.
And also what they often do is the campaign. So if you're on the campaign's press email list, they'll sometimes send you links to articles like this. And then, so if you are getting these emails as a journalist who might not have seen it otherwise, like whatever, for whatever reason, or even if you have seen it, it highlights it again. So then not only is it in Axios, but it could end up, this narrative could end up elsewhere. And that's part of how they do like behind the scenes PR campaigns.
Right. And by the way, welcome new Status Coup member, David. Welcome new Status Coup member, Anthony. We are now 1,894. 1,894 members. That would mean 6 souls watching. When 6 souls sign up before our members only call in less than 2 hours, we have our members only call through Zoom tonight. We'll hit 1,900 before the members call. I would love to hit 1,900 members. Frankly,
so fantastic.
Not to toot our own horn, I think we deserve it. We're going to show you some more of our reporting that we just did on the road for 2 weeks. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join for as low as $5 a month, which actually comes out to 16 cents a day. So let's speed through a little bit more of this. The senator and I are still close, Turner said. We forged a strong relationship and we still have to this day. So again, we're now halfway through this PR stunt masquerading as journalism. It's not even PR. A paid political attack ad from Axios. And again, the only person they've quoted is Nina Turner. They have not cited anybody else to support anything about, Nina is a Bernie acolyte and all this stuff. Now, they move from Nina to Jeff Weaver, Bernie's former campaign manager. So they're not actually citing who is the some people saying. They're just going to the target of their hit piece, Nina Turner, and now Bernie's basically top ally. Jeff Weaver has been with Bernie for decades. Jeff Weaver, a longtime Sanders aide and consultant to Turner, said in a statement, quote, "The progressive movement is in a period of maturation." Oh, Jimmy's not going to like that. Progressives has shown they could inspire voters and win in state after state, as Bernie did in 2016 and 2020. Now they are showing they can govern in an effective and principled way in coalition with more conservative elements of the party. I don't like that statement at all. It's a word salad of basically saying, yeah, we're playing nice with the establishment. We're not fighting. So no good. No good. But the point is, what is the point of this article? Can somebody tell me what is the point of this story? To create a narrative and to insert Bernie Sanders' name and to use the same playbook they used in 2016 and 2020 to hang around Nina Turner's head.
Yeah.
That's all this is. And actually, politically speaking, I actually think if she did a rally with Bernie or something like that, it wouldn't hurt her at all. I really don't think it would. I think it would get a lot more fundraising in for her. But in that district, Medicare for All is actually popular. David Sirota pointed this out earlier. Medicare for All polls incredibly popular. Nina Turner, she's not some newbie. She was a state senator from Ohio. I believe she was a councilwoman locally there. So people know her in the district. So like, I think Hillary Clinton, James Clyburn, I'm sure Obama's going to get into this. They could try to, make her Lucifer, but people already know her in the district, and she's actually gotten a lot of endorsements from elected officials in that district. So these attacks are so transparent. Let's keep going. The big picture again, they say. Several progressives in Congress and on the outside lament Sanders' unwillingness to raise hell now that Biden is in office and begging for party unity. Who are the several progressives in Congress? I know progressives on the outside are criticizing Bernie. Who are these several progressives in Congress who are lamenting Sanders' unwillingness to raise hell now? Is it AOC? Is she lamenting it? Is it Ro Khanna or Pramila Jayapal or Jamal Bowman? Are they lamenting it? Who are these phantom progressives in Congress that want Bernie to raise hell? I'd like to know. They want Sanders to be the liberal lightning rod he was before dropping out of the race and joining Biden task forces. I got news for you, Jen. I didn't go to journalism school, but if I submitted this in a journalism 101 class, I'd get an F.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so bad. And it doesn't even hide it, but it doesn't matter because the average Axios reader is not even going to notice that this is happening. Like, they're not breaking down the article like this. They're reading it quickly. Like, that's the Axios style too, is to have these bullet point, short articles. So I think they're possibly, this Alexi or whatever is using this as an excuse to do exactly this, which is say things very vaguely, but very specifically, and then not source it at all.
I agree, but I actually disagree on what. She's not saying things. She's saying nothing. This article is literally about nothing.
Well, no, so it's about nothing, but it's definitely saying something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But my point is, even Politico, when they do hit pieces, find somebody to quote.
Sure.
Not the target of the hit piece or Bernie Sanders' campaign manager. I mean, there are literally, I'll do a count after this, rough count, 7 some people says, or a variety of some think, and they don't even, who are these people?
Yeah, and even if you're not gonna get direct quotes from people, you would find something to support your argument. Maybe you would link to a piece, whatever, something.
Right. And by the way, if you don't know journalistic lingo, there's on the record, which is a direct quote where you name the person. There's on background where you could use the information. Let's say Jen gave me information. I could use it, but I can't cite Jen. But what I would have to do is give some description of why this person is credible. So, a person familiar with the matter, a Democratic Party insider, a current employee who requested anonymity for fear of retaliation. Even on background, you can't just say someone said, right? You can't just someone said, because usually that's just the journalist saying it and inventing a source, which actually people have been fired for doing that. A New York Times reporter, I forget his name, it was a scandal decades ago, did that. And other journalists have done that, inventing sources and just spewing bullshit, which is kind of easy to do these days in journalism.
Yeah, she could easily, I'm not saying she did this, I have no proof of this, but she or anyone could easily do an article like this and say anything they want, and there's no way in general to prove that someone didn't say this It's like proving a negative. You can't do it. So yeah, it's not journalistically okay at all. It's a horrible piece.
Right. So the intrigue, they say. Turner's political dilemma is more complicated. Wait a minute. This goes back to the hotly contested. Mm-hmm. Colin, can you highlight this political dilemma? The political dilemma of being 35 points up? That political dilemma? The political dilemma of being 35 points up? Of raising 6 figures overnight this week? She raised 6 figures overnight this week after James Clyburn endorsed her opponent. I think she's raised a couple $1 million so far.
Yeah, and she raised a ton after Hillary endorsed Brown as well. You know, it's
so her political dilemma. Like, what are you talking about? It's absurd. And this is, again, they're trying to create a dilemma. Mm-hmm. They're trying to create a narrative. They're trying to create a criticism or a political weapon that could be used.
This is something I cannot remember which podcast I was listening to, but the gist of it is the right does this a lot. So even if something, you know, in the Trump era, the right in the Trump era. So even if something doesn't exist or is not true, if you say it enough, it might become true, is the hope, is the goal in like putting this stuff out there. So the example this person used, and apologies to this person for not recalling who they are, but the example was, okay, let's say that you are a person in the Trump world, you have a platform or whatever, and you start talking about a militia who's like rising up against, you know, these insane leftists who are destroying America. And then, you know, your buddy, your other Trump buddy who has a platform also starts talking about this militia. Well, as you start talking about this militia that doesn't actually exist, but you talk about it as if it is, and this is not a real example, whatever, people in, like, if you say, look, this is like a Northern Virginia militia, like people in Northern Virginia who are Trump militia style folks or like want this to happen might start to form it and make it happen. So that is all to say, and again, that is not a real example. That is all to say that potentially, and I think probably, the purpose of a piece like this is to say something enough that you will it into existence. Creating a political dilemma, let's will it into existence to do the bidding of the corporate Democrats.
Absolutely. It's called repeat the lie, repeat the lie, repeat the lie, repeat the lie, and eventually it becomes the truth.
Yeah.
That's what this is. So let's finish this disgusting bullshit. Turner's political dilemma is more complicated. Aides and backers, okay, finally some sourcing.
Backers.
Yeah, finally citing somebody. Aides and backers tell Axios that part of the calculation around Sanders is actually the fact that Ohio's 11's voters overwhelmingly embraced Biden last year. In a crowded primary, they don't want to give Turner's opponents an easy way to argue that her ties to Sanders would pit her against Biden or make her unwilling to work with more moderate Democrats. So, a couple things about this. Of course, Axios totally ignores the context of, okay, so Ohio's 11th district went overwhelmingly for Bernie over Biden. Well, that was a presidential election. As we know, and the polls showed it overwhelmingly, there's not a lot of strong group of Democrats who voted that were super excited about Joe Biden. They were voting against Trump, and they were fed lies and manufacturing consent from sites like Axios and CNN and MSNBC that Bernie was a radical and Biden was pragmatic, and Bernie was a radical and Biden was pragmatic, and on we go. So, like, they're trying to basically make it seem that because Biden beat Bernie in this district, Nina ever being in a room with Bernie will somehow tank her, even though presidential election, congressional race, Presidential election, congressional race. Nina Turner lived there all her life. Nina Turner has been an elected official there. It's just so transparently stupid. You're making political dilemma. She doesn't have one. You're trying to create one. Aides and backers. Okay. Let's say this author is not a complete liar. If Nina Turner, if some aides or backers of Nina Turner told this reporter that the calculation is Sanders lost to Biden, and they're worried that in a crowded primary, they don't want to give Turner's opponents an easy way to argue or connect Sanders to Bernie, even if that's true. So why are you then connecting Bernie to Nina? Mm-hmm. Do you see what's going on? They're basically saying, oh, this is why Nina isn't clinging on for dear life to Bernie, but we're going to do it for her. We're going to do it for her by creating or trying to push a narrative and a connection.
Yeah, it's a complete non-issue. Like, who cares? Obviously, you're going to do things to win. That's what a race is. So who cares? This is not an issue. But by them highlighting it and bullet pointing it, your brain, when you're reading it, like assumes it is a real issue.
Welcome, new Status Coup member David. Woohoo! 6 members away from 1900. And a reminder, we got our members call just 1.5 hours from now, hour and a half. Statuscoup.com/join, sign up. I think we can get 6 new members before the members call.
Let's do it.
You will get the Zoom link before the members call if you are a Status Coup member and patron. So let's finish this up. Clyburn recently got involved in Turner's race to endorse one of her opponents. Who cares? Instead of making the endorsement about Brown, Clyburn seemed to take his frustrations with some progressive colleagues on Turner. Clyburn told the New York Times his aversion of sloganeering and phrases like defund the police and abolish ICE. I guess he didn't tell the New York Times.
Sloganeering.
I guess he didn't tell the New York Times he is the largest recipient of big pharmaceutical money in Congress. Yep. Guess he missed that one. Rather than describe herself as a Sanders protege, again, manufacturing consent, pushing a narrative that Nina Turner is a Sanders protege. If you can highlight that, Colin. Maybe she's just a strong fucking black woman who is badass. I mean, I'll cover her critically if she gets in there and moonwalks like the rest of the squad. But maybe she's just a really strong black woman with a lot of political experience and who has made some courageous decisions, including, at that time, committing political suicide, unendorsing Hillary Clinton to go with a scrappy socialist Jew who had no movement at that point, and she unendorsed Hillary to go with Bernie. So maybe instead of trying to, I don't know, Bernie Sanders, Nina Turner, maybe this is a non-story and she's not a Sanders protege. But anyway, rather than describe herself as a Sanders protege, Turner mentions President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and black women who played historic roles in U.S. politics and the voting rights movement. Quote, I'm a Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm Democrat. In the vein of FDR, that's the kind of Democrat I am. I'm a Fannie Hamer Democrat. Between the lines, progressives are operating without clear commanding...
Oh my God.
Progressives are operating without a clear commanding leadership structure. So I'm not going to read the rest because, honestly, I don't want to throw up. But here is what's really going on here. Because Axios wants to say big picture. Here's the actual big picture. There's the corporate big picture, the manufacturing consent big picture. Here's the in reality picture. The only thing that the corporate Democratic establishment knows how to do when they are threatened is not actually debate the policies, is not actually just push their own policies and their own speaking about candidates, push their own biographies, push their own policies, push their own achievements, is to essentially try and basically turn people who are championing policies that actually at the policy level are wildly popular, turn them into communists, turn them into radicals, turn them into divisive, turn them into unstable, turn them into never gotten results. That was a big one with Bernie. A lot of ideology, no results, and just throw as much mud at the wall, because they can't actually debate or win on the policies. Remember, Biden did win the Democratic primary, but every single state that voted, the majority voted. The majority favored Medicare for all, including Mississippi and other southern states. So Joe Biden didn't win because his policies were favored by the American people. Nobody even knew what his policies were. He didn't have any. Maybe $15 minimum wage when he's moonwalked faster than Michael Jackson from. So this is all they know how to do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to make it clear that. So there's a discussion in the chat about calling the squad frauds or not.
This is good. This is going to go into our cult discussion.
It is, but I want to make it very clear that that is not the case. We don't not say stuff because of an interview or not. So I want to clarify that. So yeah, just in the chat, just don't put words in our mouth. For sure.
And by the way, we're going to get to that because whoever's saying that is 100% about the cult progressive mentality that is developing. And I'm going to share my thoughts. And if I lose you, so be it. But people need to wake the fuck up. And fortunately, after my rant the other day, I was so freaking excited. I can't tell you how many comments I saw. Jordan, you changed my mind. I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
So hopefully. So let's wrap this up in a bow. Bottom line, I don't worship politicians. I was a Bernie guy, but I criticized him during the campaign for his naivete, his weakness, not going for the jugular against Hillary Clinton or Biden for really, really stupid decisions like while you are literally on the verge of winning the Democratic nomination and are on 60 Minutes with the largest audience, frankly, of old people watching, the biggest weakness of Bernie Sanders has always been getting older, normie. Not that all older people are, there's plenty of older progressives. We love you. He took the bait. And I know for a fact from sources in his campaign, when he took the bait on that Fidel Castro question, his campaign was going off the fucking hinges. All of his campaign advisors were really, really pissed off because he took the bait that Anderson Cooper and the corporate media wanted him to take. What I mean by that is Bernie Sanders should have said to Anderson Cooper when asked about Fidel Castro, I am currently the Democratic frontrunner for the Democratic nomination. I ain't running for president of Cuba. And I'm here to talk about the issues. And I'd actually like to address some of your viewers that might have actually been told things about me that aren't accurate, and pivoted. It would have lost, certain sections of YouTube and Twitter who said he's not being pure. But you want to win or want to give a history lesson on Fidel Castro, even if it was an accurate history lesson on Fidel Castro? And Nina Turner, I think, is running a smart campaign. Listen, if she gets in there and she doesn't fight, I think every politician needs to make some compromises, but it's about to the degree. And what do you fight for? Where do you hold the line and say, no, I'm not voting for this? But she got to get in there first. Expect more of what you just... I've never seen a piece like that, even from Politico. I've never seen a piece like that. That was probably one of the worst attack ads dressed up as journalism that I've never seen. But there will be a lot more of that. Because, let's be clear, there's a reason these outlets give a damn about Ohio's 11th district. There's a reason Hillary and Jim Clyburn, probably Obama, my guess is Pelosi, Schumer will get in there too. There's a reason they care, and it's because they don't think Nina Turner is a fraud. They don't think Nina Turner is a sellout, as some people have been saying. They recognize she might be a problem if she gets in.
They also don't want it to be the case that new people are able to join the squad. They don't want to have the narrative of, AOC won against Crawley, and no one ever thought that could happen. And Cori Bush won against
I forgot his name.
yeah, so she won against an establishment Democrat that nobody thought. She did lose the first go around. She won the second time. They don't want that to continue. They don't want Nina Turner to win and to be able to join the squad, because no matter what you think about the squad or whatever, it can get more power if it grows, of course. So even those who you feel like are not fighting back enough now or doing the right things now, the chances of them doing that improve dramatically if there are more of them, especially if it's like a fire breather like Nina Turner.
Moving on to the most exciting topic in the world.
I want to show a couple of my pictures that I sent Colin.
Sure.
So Colin, can you show, and I don't know how I'll know what you're showing actually. So Colin, show just the pictures that I sent you, and I'll just talk in general about what you're gonna see, I guess. So hopefully this works. I don't know. There's a bit of a delay, so I'm just waiting to see if. Okay, so in this training, as I said, there were active shooter scenarios. There were like, what's the word? Like LARPing war, like live action role play of a war, reporting in war situations, what to do if there's an active shooter. So you'll see we had mannequins, like weighted mannequins. These were weighted as if they were real people. We learned how to do tourniquets. We learned how to plug wounds and a bunch of stuff. I guess we only have one picture. I don't know, Colin, if you have more. Just show them. Yeah, you don't have to wait for me to talk about it because it's such a delay. I don't know what you're on. So it was incredibly difficult for me physically because I have long hauler. But I did my best. I did opt out of certain things like dragging mannequins outside, and like I could not physically do so due to COVID. But yeah, it was incredibly valuable and so glad to know it. And one of the pictures has like we drew so-called bullet holes on each other, like learned how to dress them. It was definitely like nitty-gritty work, sweaty work, hard work. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you guys what the gist of that was, like where I was all this time. And I will definitely have more to say about this, including some very, very behind the scenes things about like having been in a training with New York Times folks. So I definitely think you're gonna want to learn what I'm gonna say.
Some really sinister shit, I will say.
Oh well, you're gonna have to join to get the gist, I think. Statuscoup.com/join. I will share much more about this. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of valuable things that will help Status Coup, that will help us get people's stories out. But I also learned some stuff you're going to want to find out on the members call. Statuscoup.com/join. I was on the belly of the beast.
The members call, that is about a little over an hour. We're having our Status Coup members call. We are 6 members away from 1,900.
Come on, folks.
So sign up. Statuscoup.com/join. You will get the Zoom link before the members call at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So I want to get into something, and honestly, I just don't even care anymore if we lose people. I don't even care if you unsubscribe. I just don't care, because I am at a point where I think people are losing sight of what the term progressive actually means. Mm-hmm. I think people are losing sight of what the term progressive, which has progress in it, actually means. And I think people are making the mistake that we all made, I think, of putting all your apples into one political leader, whether it's Bernie, AOC, even Nina, or putting all your apples in one media personality and not having your own critical thinking skills. Colin, if you could show the tweet that I asked you.
And before you go much further, I want to say, guys, listen to what we're saying. I already saw comments that are saying like, oh, yeah, like it's not a cult to like disagree with what politicians are doing. But did we ever say that? No, we never said that.
Yeah.
You can't like imagine what we're going to say and listen to what we are actually saying when we talk about this topic, because it is very important. There's a reason we're speaking on this.
So, Colin, put up that tweet if you can. So, I went on The Hills Rising a couple days ago. I actually didn't even know who was hosting, but I got an email from somebody who works for the show, and they said, we'd love to have you on to cover your reporting trip, which, as Jen and I will tell you on the members call, we couldn't get a fly to retweet or cover our reporting trip.
Steve, that is not what we said.
Yeah.
Continue.
We couldn't get anybody to cover it when we were on the road. We couldn't get anyone, including our comrades, to share it, retweet it, do anything with it. So, okay, The Hill has invited me on. Should I say no because Crystal and Sagar aren't there? So I didn't even know Ryan was hosting that day. It wouldn't have mattered to me anyway. But Ryan Grimm was hosting. So this, and I'm sorry to put him on blast. I'm sure the big man is a good old boy. But
sure, the big man.
No
Napoleon complex there.
Big man wrote, "Imagine taking your overwrought stand against the TMZification," which I did a rant the other day about the TMZification of independent progressive media, and then chumming around with people like Ryan. Got your priorities straight, huh? I've seen basically this comment is essentially just one shade of the growing and more just stupid fucking extreme moronic comments. So I said, yes, let me reject an invitation to spread to more eyeballs critically important stories not being covered by corporate media or independent media, like, all of the progressive hosts who were, for the last 4 weeks, I looked, it's now 4 weeks, talking about Jimmy, Aaron, TYT, and pretty much nothing else. Yeah, let me turn down an invitation to get the stories out because Ryan Grimm, who's, by the way, I don't give a shit if Jimmy likes this, that I'm going to say this. I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to keep it real. I don't know Ryan Grimm from a hole in the wall. I never met him. For 5 years now. We probably will end up doing a documentary about this one day. It has been a Herculean feat to get any mainstream media outlet to pick up our scandalous bombshell investigative reporting on Flint. Huh?
I think we need to address, this keeps getting said, so at some point we need to address that because that can't be.
All right, we'll address it. It will get, basically no corporate media outlet wants to touch real stories on Flint or anything else. We have, if we one day we'll put it in a book, if we would show you the conversations we've had with corporate media outlets, handing them literally proof of a cover-up with Flint, and they've all passed. Other than Vice, which that was an experience all on its own, Ryan Grimm and The Intercept, which everybody thinks is, horrendous and awful and terrible. Ryan Grimm and The Intercept are the only ones that have cared, have published, other than Vice, have published our Flint reporting, and we're now on the verge of another piece. Knock on wood. So, because, and Jimmy's my friend, but I'm just going to be honest, because Jimmy goes on a crusade about Ryan Grimm.
Yeah.
And does a gazillion videos bashing Ryan Grimm, and people don't like that Ryan Grimm isn't. And I heard his interview with, I think it was Pramila Jayapal. I thought it was soft too. Does that mean I should cancel Ryan Grimm? Like, a lot of people thought my interview with Nina Turner was soft. Am I canceled now? Like, this extreme thinking. Honestly, this isn't even about Ryan Grimm. This extreme thinking and this cult-like mentality that if if a commentator isn't with you 1,000% or speaking your language 1,000%, in this case, if a reporter, he's a reporter, he's not a commentator. If a reporter isn't hammering the politicians you want hammered over the head to the degree you accept, that they're sellouts and they're frauds and they're Lucifer and they're this, what are you, fucking 12? And by the way, Jimmy is my friend, but I'm just going to be honest. I think he sometimes is way over the top with this stuff. The world is not black or white. The world is not black or white. I saw, Jimmy has been criticizing Ryan, for example, for not, giving cover for the squad, right? Giving cover for the squad. And again, I think the interview we did with Pramila Jayapal was soft. I actually think I saw him go on a show and acknowledge that after the fact. So The Intercept just did a piece, and Ryan tweeted it out. Sorry, I don't have it in front of me. Basically about how Biden and the Democrats are pushing insane money for nuclear weapons, and the squad is folding. So everybody's criticizing Ryan and The Intercept for not critically reporting on the squad. Mm-hmm. So Ryan critically reported on the squad, and then Jimmy sent out a tweet criticizing him. It's like, make up your fucking mind. He's Lucifer. He and others are Lucifer because they're not reporting to the degree you want them to report. They're not attacking or criticizing to the degree you want them to criticize. But then they do a report, and I think the headline said the squad is folding, but then you criticize them. Mm-hmm. So is this really about the issues, or is this just about basically canceling everybody who's not in our cult? And I actually like Jimmy, and I agree with a lot of his stances, but I'm not going to worship Jimmy Dore or anyone else. Like, there are some people that clearly are sellouts and clearly are frauds. There's a lot of them. I and you have been extremely critical of the squad, of Bernie. But because I don't call them the fraud squad, that's your trigger? And by the way, people were saying he doesn't call them the fraud squad because it would he wouldn't get an interview with them.
That's not, yeah.
I literally
No.
have never actually sent a request for an interview. I think maybe during the campaign when AOC was running, I did. I have never actually sent a request to interview any of them. With Bernie Sanders on the campaign trail, I was literally the only reporter, independent, going around the country covering Bernie's campaign. I asked them I asked them if I could interview him. He only wanted to interview with Jenn, which is fine. But while I was covering him, I said critical things, particularly about his debate performances. But
yeah, so I want to extra highlight this because I do not want it to make it look like this is our stance at all. It is not our stance. The reason we don't call them the fraud squad is because that's I'll figure out my wording here so it doesn't come across the wrong way. That is not what reporting is. That is potentially what activism is. I think it's a very clicky hashtag, whatever. It gets people riled up. It rhymes, whatever. But we would not, if we did think that they were frauds, or if we did think that they were corrupt, that we would say that, and we do. And it has nothing to do with getting an interview or not getting an interview. If someone is doing something wrong, we call it out. If someone is not, we don't say that. If you think that this XYZ politician is corrupt, okay, that's okay. Maybe I think like parts of the things they do are corrupt. Maybe I think, maybe I disagree. But it has nothing to do with getting an interview or not. So I want to make it very clear. Status quo stance is not to say or not say things based on getting interviews.
And by the way, we rarely interview politicians. But I'll say it even more directly. It's not just, I don't use the term fraud or sellout, fraud squad, sellouts, whatever. Not just because I'm a journalist. I'm not fucking 12.
Yeah,
I'm not 12 years old. Like, literally, comment after comment, like, you need to call them fraud squad. This is cult-like behavior. And I just want to be clear. I don't think Jimmy is intentionally trying to create a cult. I don't. And it's not just Jimmy, by the way. There's other hosts that are pushing this message that if they're not with us 1,000%, if they're not doing everything we want 100% of the time, frauds, sellouts, cowards, all this. We were talking earlier, and you made a good point. This is really the definition of cults.
Yeah. So what I said was part of the way, because I study cults, I'm fascinated by cults and cult-like behavior. Yeah, it's one of the things that I'm really fascinated by. And in general, in all of my life, like I've wanted to figure out the psychology of people, like what makes people tick, why do they do what they do. So one of the ways that you know that something is a cult or that someone is like displaying cult-like behavior is because it's very like black or white thinking. Often in cults, they require, or the culture is that if someone disagrees or is not also in the cult, then you disconnect from them. You might have heard of this with Scientology is the clearest and like most well-known example. But in general, this is what happens in cults. If you are not 100% on board with the way that we in this cult are doing things, I do not talk to you. I disassociate from you. In Scientology, it's called being a suppressive person. And in Scientology, folks are required to disconnect from suppressive people. Let's take, when was the last time Tom Cruise saw Surrey, you know? And by all accounts, I can't like say that this is 100%, but that Katie Holmes has been officially declared a suppressive person in Scientology. And same for Nicole Kidman. So this is the same thing. Does it mean, you know, if you think about it, does it mean like, did Katie Holmes make friends in Scientology when she was with Tom Cruise? Probably. Do they talk to her now? Absolutely not. They don't associate with her. Even folks that like would have loved Surrey and been in Surrey's life don't have anything to do with that child because Scientology is a cult. So why am I talking about this? Because that's what is happening among some of the extremely online progressives. If you're not 100% on board with my way of thinking, my exact strategy, you are a bad suppressive person and I'm done with you. You're canceled. And that is part of the definition of a cult.
And I just want to respond to this. And again, I'm not attacking these people because I think a lot of you who have this mentality are truly, genuinely, understandably angry and frustrated and cynical. I understand why you are. We are too. We're out on the road seeing this misery, seeing this corruption. So, but like, I just want to point out one comment. This is from Calamity 2007. And this is kind of the thinking that I don't think you're getting. It's called holding politicians accountable, Jordan. Calamity, I got news for you. Calling them the fraud squad and sellouts, that's not holding politicians accountable. I said this during Force the Vote, which I was for, by the way. We were one of the only outlets. I think it was Convo Couch, Jackson Hinkle was there, and I think us, covering the Force the Vote protests, which it was during the heart of the pandemic. There wasn't a ton of people. We covered it anyway. I was for it. But you know what I wasn't for? And I said this openly at the time. I didn't hide it. If you're trying to pressure politicians into doing something, which Jimmy absolutely should have been pressuring them into doing something. Everybody should. I think Cenk Uygur was wrong. Ryan Grimm was wrong. All of them are wrong. This is Politics 101. Leverage your vote to extract concessions. You might not get every single thing you want, but if they need your vote and you're withholding it, you could get some of what you want. This is common practice. Jimmy was absolutely right. But if I'm trying to get Jenn over to my side or to see my point, as a human, if I'm calling you a sellout and I'm calling you a fraud and I'm calling you a feckless this, that, and the other thing, is that going to push you or incentivize you?
No.
It might actually give you an excuse not to do it.
Yes, it could be the excuse not to do it. And I think, too, part of what makes some of this cult-like is the fact that I don't know where I was going with this point. So part of what makes all of this cult-like also is people are feeling very disenfranchised and disenchanted with politics. People are upset. People are feeling almost nihilistic. And part of what cults do is take people who are down, take people who want more out of the world but have like given up hope. Maybe they've had a rough life. There's something that connects these people that makes them like want to be part of this group, and you get sucked in and the brainwashing occurs. But think about this in terms of and I highly recommend actually like watching documentaries on cults. There's some really, really good ones. I can recommend them in the members chat tonight, statuscoup.com/join. It's happening in an hour. But people on the left are feeling very disenchanted. People on the left are Bernie lost twice, and the corruption in the DNC is clear and documented. And so I think like that those who are sort of like leading this charge take advantage of that knowingly or not. And I think that is part of what like binds these folks together. And so like if one person denounces Ryan Grimm, the folks who are like enchanted by this and are feeling some like camaraderie in the nihilism, like the immediate thought with no real reason to completely cancel a person or hate a person are like, yes, I also hate this person. I am also canceling this person. And that is part of what a cult is.
And I also want to be very clear and welcome new Status Coup member Lucinda. Woohoo!
Yay!
5 members away, 1,895. We're 5 members away from 1,900.
Ooh.
And our members only calls in less than an hour. I want to be very clear so my words are not twisted, because I know there's some channels that will respond to this and do 25 videos. Jordan bashes Jimmy Dore. I want to be very clear about something. This isn't about Jimmy Dore.
No. Yeah.
And it's not about, I actually think this is much bigger than Jimmy Dore, because I've actually been seeing this line of thinking since Bernie endorsed Hillary in 2016. I've been seeing this long before the Jimmy TYT wars. I don't think Jimmy Dore, I know him as a person, I don't think he genuinely is intentionally trying to do anything other than fight for healthcare and things like that. I do not agree with his style at all times. I've told him that. But I don't think Jimmy is a bad faith actor, just to put that out there.
Right, and I agree. Same thing. So when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm talking in general terms and just like highlighting.
I'm talking about viewers of a lot of media.
No, well, so I am speaking. There are always leaders in these situations, and that is important to say and to note. But that doesn't mean I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying like Jimmy is is XYZ. No, I like Jimmy. I've spent time with Jimmy. Like we agreed with Force the Vote. I disagreed dramatically with some of what Jimmy has said. I'm not like. In my mind, like Jimmy's not canceled. I think like he has, when you hear him speak about why he fights for Medicare for all based on his own health, that's real. That's not made up. He's not, grifting and trying to help push Medicare for all. No, that's silly. So yeah, like the terms that I'm speaking in are general, and please do not twist what we are saying. This is not about criticizing politicians. This is not about anything other than folks taking things to the extreme and doing the things that resemble cult-like behavior.
And I just want to also say something because, welcome new YouTube member. I want to also make a point here because I think people truly aren't getting it. They're not getting it. Do you know who agrees with this mentality? Do you know who agrees with this mentality that you shouldn't shut out and be black or white and cancel it, people who you don't agree with on everything and who you don't, you even find objectionable on some things? Do you know who believes that? Jimmy Dore. He goes on Tucker Carlson when asked and has explained, am I going to give up the opportunity to speak with the biggest cable news audience, the biggest media audience in the country? Tucker Carlson is the top rated show where I could fight for Julian Assange, or I can speak, at the time, speak directly to President Trump, who was sitting in his bed with his cheeseburgers watching Tucker. So Jimmy has that mentality that it's about the issues. But, you know, it's just getting to a point now where the progressive movement, and this isn't all of the progressive movement, you need to decide, do you want to just fight each other? And by the way, I'm not calling TYT progressive or whatever, but do you want to just fight amongst each other, which is exactly, oh my God, the CNN, the Democratic Party, when they see this, we are literally handing them an early Christmas present. This endless food fight and this endless cancellation of people and this, you're a sellout if you don't agree with me, this and that. You're literally handing the establishment what it wants. It's as old as history, divide and conquer. You don't need to agree with me on all things. You can think somebody like Ryan Grimm is an Axios journalist or, doesn't fight hard enough against certain politicians. So let me ask you, for the people saying all this stuff, if and when we break a major piece through the Intercept on Flint that is in the Intercept, which a lot of people have a problem with. I have a problem with some of the stories they've done and things they've done. Are you going to cancel the story? Are you not going to read it? Are you not going to share it because it's in the Intercept? Because that's what this mentality really comes down to. Should, I not go on the Hill Rising because they were not great to Crystal and Sagar? When we need to get these stories out one way or the other. Should, I don't know, I see people like canceling Kyle Kalinske now. Kyle Kalinske, one of the most popular, honest, intelligent, unique hosts we have in this independent media space, because he didn't tell Jimmy he wasn't going to interview him, or the interview was off. Yeah, I think that was messed up. That for whatever reason, Kyle and Crystal no longer wanted to interview Jimmy. It's a professional thing. Let him know. So I agree with Jimmy on that. But is Kyle no good now? We're all going to unsubscribe? Like, how old is everybody here? And by the way, on issues, somebody said, let me go back to it. Calamity 2007. It's called Holding Politicians Accountable. Then you don't watch this channel. If you think holding politicians accountable is calling them the fraud squad and calling them sellout, we're just living in another world. Because this channel has criticized the squad and Bernie. I'll get a video count if you want. A lot. But if you truly believe that the phrases are what matter, and if you're not with us 1,000%, you're against us, then we're going to be in the political wilderness till we are all long, long gone.
I see a lot of comments in the chat, and so I like quick caveat. I see some of you talking about Reality Winner in relation to The Intercept. Actually, from my training with the New York Times, the adversarial reporter training, which was very valuable if you missed it, me talking about that, I have additional insight into what happened with Reality Winner and The Intercept and the whole situation. So I'll talk about that on the members call, which is happening in 50 minutes at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Go to statuscoup.com/join, and I will share that additional insight about Reality Winner and The Intercept.
Welcome new member Carlapa. Welcome new member Margarita.
Woo!
We're 3 members from 1900.
I wish I had a margarita right now.
3 members from 1900.
And also, can you go back to the comments because I can't remember like what else I was gonna. Here, let me scroll up. So some of you are some of you are talking about. Did we shout out
Sireba, new YouTube member.
Hopefully we're saying that right. Welcome. So people are talking about that Kyle, like debating whether or not to like unsubscribe from Kyle's channel. People are saying like, yeah, he's getting canceled for what he did. Well, what are you saying? What he did? Did you actually? I'm trying to not sound condescending. It's hard though to not because what he did, listen to it again if you think that what he did was a thing to unsubscribe for. What he did was say, look, this is the gist of it in my estimation. He said, look, I know all of these people personally. I think you probably all know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about the TYT versus Jimmy Dore battle, TYT versus Aaron Mate battle. So Kyle felt pulled into it, and he commented on it. He made a video. And so what Kyle said was, these people, I know them all personally. They are all my friends. He talked about just in general, like what he disagreed with how this has happened, how this has played out. For example, and I completely agree with this, what Jimmy said to Anna regarding the nice news skirt comment, that was entirely inappropriate. That was in front of, which he left this context out, that was in front of a room of her journalism students. You don't do that. Like that's not okay. And so Kyle said, that's not okay. And so what Kyle did was speak his truth and what he thought about all of this and how this drama is impacting the left. Because, as he said, my job, and Aaron Mate posted basically like, why aren't other leftist media folks talking about what's happened to me? And someone said, something like, Kyle, you're not reporting on Syria. You're not reporting on like what TYT is doing to Aaron. And so Kyle addressed that. And I can't remember the number, but he's like, I've done like 100 videos about Syria. What do you mean I'm not talking about Syria? And so Kyle, yeah, he spoke about all of this. He spoke on his opinion about what's happening from a person who knows behind, is involved like behind the scenes. Obviously, there are different sides to different things, whatever. But Kyle focuses on policy. He reports on the news. Why does he have to respond to drama? And yes, it is drama. So because you hate TYT, maybe you're pro Jimmy, and because Kyle was not like, yeah, Aaron and Jimmy are totally right, and now I hate these guys, and because he's not embracing like what he feels are wrong things, such as Jimmy's comment to Anna. Now folks are unsubscribing. If that's you, think about why you're doing that. Did you like Kyle? Do you appreciate his takes? Do you appreciate his reporting? Is there a reason you subscribed in the first place? So why now, because he has an opinion about drama that's different than yours, why would you unsubscribe?
That's what a cult is.
Yeah.
That's literally cult-like thinking.
Yes.
And I want to make a few points. First off, I know you didn't get to see the whole video. I think Kyle was wrong not to include in the video that Anna, it seemed, was hanging over Jimmy's head, oh, all this criticism you're doing of TYT? Well, remember when you harassed me and this and that, allegedly, harassed me and this and that? I haven't said a word, but that's going to change soon. So it did have the impression of I'm blackmailing you or I'm trying to blackmail you. And that's not a small thing. It should have been mentioned by Kyle. I think he's a good guy. I don't think he intentionally left it out, but I think that is relevant to the discussion. But I want to make a real important point. And Jen knows about this. Almost 4 years ago, with all due respect to Aaron Maté, who I think was smeared and had a right to defend himself, almost 4 years ago, I had a much worse smear about me that was potentially career-ending, and at the time felt career-ending. Okay? Everybody knows what happened. I don't need to relitigate it. It was a lie. Jen could tell you it was a lie. And because it was literally the beginning of the hashtag #MeToo movement, you were guilty by tweet during that time. It was soon after Harvey Weinstein and that horrific story came out about him and Mark Halperin. And basically, you were guilty by tweet if you were a male. And a lot of them were guilty. I was not. Mama raised me right. I didn't do what that person alleged. And fortunately, after the fact, people that looked at it knew that. There is not one YouTuber or any tuber that came out to defend me publicly. Even people who I was very close with. And you know what? I was upset at the time, and I learned a lesson. That even in the independent progressive media, people are human, and people have their own self-interest, and they're not always going to do the right thing. A lot of those people that would not lift a finger, again, not one person came out to defend me, other than Jen. Not one, because Jen actually investigated it, and she knew it was a lie. A lot of those same people that would not lift a finger, and I was asking them to, and I was DMing them, when I was back and kind of not toxic anymore, they started DMing me. They started asking me for favors. People you know in progressive media, by the way. Mm-hmm. So, with all due respect to Aaron, who I think is a great journalist, I have no issue with Aaron. He was smeared. And this is to Jimmy, too. Nobody is a king here. Nobody is entitled to every single person coming out and defending you to the degree you expect them to defend you. Whether it's about smears that you're a Russian agent or smears that you've assaulted someone. For example, people were criticizing us. We were just on the road for 2 weeks, driving through 4 states. We were getting messages, why aren't you covering Jimmy versus TYT? Because I'm fucking covering exploding homelessness, mass evictions, a cover-up of Breonna Taylor's murder, corruption of Joe Manchin, while trying to go to the bathroom and find parking through 4 states.
Because an autistic trans man has literal shit coming up out of his pipes from other people's houses because his landlord is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's why you didn't. And so I want to say, people in the chat are saying you are minimizing the McCarthyite smears to drama. No, you're not listening to what we're saying. We have said it's awful what Anna and Jank did. We have said that. Aaron, there's no evidence that Aaron is paid by Russia, whatever. No. TYT was Jake and Anna were totally wrong to do what they did.
And should still apologize.
We said that. They should absolutely apologize. That was wrong. Absolutely wrong. Yes, that is wrong. We are not minimizing those smears. We didn't. We said it. What we are saying is drama, and separate these things in your mind, is the drama. The reporting on the report on... So the reporting on what someone else said, and then
it's not reporting.
Another show, it's like another term I should use. But and then doing a show on what someone else on another show said, and then doing a second show that day on what this person said, and this person said, and this person, and this person, and this person, going back and forth and on and on. Why are these while
By the way, now it's 4 weeks of this. 4 weeks of this. So all of this is going on. And again, separate two things, because I know people are having a hard time of understanding the word nuance, because it's all black and white with you people. Aaron had a right to defend himself. Jimmy had a right to go after TYT. Aaron could go on any show he wants. Totally understand that. I would do the same thing. Other shows had a right to cover it. There's something called proportionality, folks. There's something called proportionality. We're living in a new gilded age, as we just showed you on the road for 2 weeks. We are living in, I think, the most corrupt government on planet Earth, even more corrupt than third world countries. We have an eviction apocalypse that has already come, as we just exposed. People have been evicted throughout this pandemic, which has not widely been reported. I mean, we went to a park with homeless people in Philadelphia. Both of us have seen a lot of homelessness all over this country. We've never seen anything like it. All of these things are going on because people's preferred host, Jimmy Dore, or people's favorite journalist, Aaron Maté, has been wronged, and there should have been coverage at the beginning. That's the top story in the United Corporations of America, where pretty much, 7 to 10 channels, that's all they did for weeks and weeks and weeks. Obviously for clickbait. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I've been guilty of clickbait in my life. It's clear when people are doing clickbait. Should it have been covered initially? Yes. But if you, as a viewer, actually think that it should have been covered for a month now, and there's no end in sight, because it's like an octopus. It has 25 legs. So, Jimmy likes a tweet critical of Kyle. Kyle responds.
Octopi don't have 25 legs.
Jimmy likes a tweet critical of Kyle. Kyle feels like he has to respond. Then Jimmy responds last night with Aaron. I mean, what's next? Then Jimmy does a nasty tweet about Ryan Grimm. The same channels are going to do a video on Jimmy's tweet against Aaron Grimm. Meanwhile, the fucking planet's on fire. Meanwhile, the rich are getting richer. Meanwhile, literally, police are creating laws so that you cannot, politicians are creating laws in Ohio that you cannot record a police officer. It would be illegal. Meanwhile, condos are falling down in Florida, killing people. Meanwhile, Flint doesn't have clean water 7 years later. Meanwhile, another Native American reservation is having a pipeline rammed through its reservation, Line 3. They're still out there fighting. We want to go cover it. The list is endless. Meanwhile, massive cover-up, which we're exposing in Louisville about Breonna Taylor. All I was saying is, I'm not against covering. Everybody likes a food fight from time to time. I wasn't against Aaron defending himself and going on other shows, or Jimmy defending himself against TYT. After a couple weeks, I think it's run its course.
It's time.
I think it's time for people to actually focus on the real issues that I think you started a channel to cover. I think.
And if the criticism of Kyle, if part of the criticism of Kyle is that he didn't cover Syria enough, well, when's the last time these channels that are talking about this drama did some actual reporting? Are they talking about Syria, or are they only talking about the drama? And yes, I do mean drama. And no, I do not. That does not mean I think what Anna and Jenn did was right. What they did against Aaron was wrong. Yes, put that in your mind. The drama. Why are you yelling at Kyle, who is focusing on policy, who is focusing on news?
Because he didn't agree with King Jimmy Dore. That's why. That's the only reason. Yeah. Because Kyle didn't 1,000% agree with King Dore, who I like, but it seems that his audience basically looks at him as a king. Because Kyle didn't agree with, and we're going to lose subscribers right now. I don't give a shit. Yeah. Goodbye. Because Kyle said critical words about Jimmy Dore, people want to cancel. Again, I actually think Kyle was wrong and Crystal was wrong, they should have told Jimmy, yeah, we're not going to have you on the show. Apparently, Jimmy was ready to do the interview. It was scheduled, and I guess they ghosted him. I don't know I don't know the whole situation, but Jimmy showed the messages, and I don't think that's right. Professional thing. Hey, we're going to cancel for this reason. But I don't agree with Jimmy Dore on all things. Sue me. Cancel me. I don't give a shit. If you think that means I'm a sellout, okay. I've only, spent the last 6 years of my life giving a microphone to people who never get it in corporate media. But if I'm a sellout, okay. If you want to cancel Kyle Kalinske over that he didn't come out strong enough against TYT or criticize Jimmy, then you need to look in the mirror, folks, because you've lost the plot. You've lost the plot at this point. And you're not actually focusing singularly. Your main goal is now no longer Medicare for all. Your main goal is no longer a Green New Deal, banning fracking, ending private prisons, reparations for Black Americans, and on we go. You might, in your heart, believe in those things, but what you're actually doing is not getting us any closer to that path. What you're actually doing is creating a completely dystopian online world where if you are not fire-breathing like us, if you don't agree with all things, if you don't call them a fraud squad, if you don't call them sellouts, if you are not nihilistic, if you ever dare criticize Jimmy or other hosts you like, then you are not a real progressive. And to that I say, take a hike. If you don't want to watch us anymore, I don't care.
Thought Crimes makes a point that I want to highlight, not because it is praising us, but I'll tell you why. So Thought Crime says, you are one of the few white media personalities, no offense on race being mentioned, that has stayed focused. And the reason I wanted to read this is because, yes, we have stayed focused. We are focused on what's happening to real people in this country. But also, you are spot on. There's a privilege in thinking that this is all that needs to be focused on, that one's self is all that needs to be focused on. There's a privilege in endlessly covering drama and leftist fighting at the expense of real reporting and real things that are happening.
The last thing I'll say, because we need to pee and eat before our members call in a half hour. To me, this goes way beyond Jimmy Dore or TYT or us or anything. To me, this isn't really even about personalities anymore. To me, this is about, and I started seeing it in 2016, that Bernie's a sellout because he endorsed Hillary. Bernie's a sellout. Bernie's a sellout. The same people saying that, many of them got into politics because of Bernie Sanders. Many of them started knocking on doors because of sellout Bernie Sanders. Many of them did anything in politics for the first time because of fraud, coward, feckless Bernie, right? I think Bernie Sanders is a good man who has fought all his life to achieve progress, but politically speaking, was weak. Two things can be true at the same time, folks. It doesn't mean somebody's corrupt. It means he was right on the policy. He was courageous to, by the way, it's now normalized. It's now normalized that you can compete in campaigns without taking corporate money. That's because of Bernie Sanders. Okay? And I don't care if you cancel me because I'm standing up. The reason Nina Turner can compete right now in Ohio without taking corporate money is Bernie Sanders. Same thing goes for any other progressive politician. So because you are upset that Bernie is working too much with Biden or not fighting hard enough or variety of it, then let's throw the baby out with the bathwater. And it's not just about Bernie. They're doing this for everybody. Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's completely forget any good thing he's ever done. And I disagree. And I literally said, Jimmy and I have discussed this off air. I disagree with calling him a coward. I disagree with calling him corrupt. I disagree with calling him feckless. Frankly, Jimmy Dore wouldn't have an audience if not for the Bernie Sanders movement. Neither would we, originally. Mm-hmm. We live in a corrupt country. Our government has been sold to the highest bidder. You can disagree with the actions of politicians. You can think they're weak. You can think they're not fighting for you without completely canceling them. I have no skin in the game. I don't care if you like Bernie Sanders or not, or AOC or the squad. Call them whatever you want. I'm just trying to get people out of this quicksand, which is unproductive and is dangerous. I'm not telling you vote blue no matter who. Vote for whoever you want. I voted for Biden. And you know what I told my audience? Vote for who you want. And you know what I did after that? I criticized Biden. I didn't change my coverage one bit. That was my main problem with TYT. It wasn't that they supported Hillary Clinton after Bernie dropped out. They completely changed their coverage. 24/7 Donald Trump barely reported on the WikiLeaks revelations of Hillary's emails. I was still there. That was the criticism. It wasn't that we disagreed. It was the total shift in coverage. But if you are a person, and I'm looking straight into the camera, and we have to go. If you're a person that only wants to consume commentary or reporting that 100% agrees with your worldview, if you are a person that only wants to consume, they call it red meat or blue meat, let's call this, I don't know, online meat, for lack of a better word. If you are a person that gets so, we've literally had people message us, I'm canceling my membership because I don't agree with you on something you said. Totally erasing the fact that we're going out there and interviewing and covering and investigating corruption, and we're one of the only ones doing it. If you are a person that is such a snowflake, and that's really what you guys are, and this doesn't erase that you are right to be angry, you are right to be frustrated, you are right to be cynical. The Democratic Party has sold you out. The Republican Party never had your interests. Media is corrupt. You're right to be upset. You're right to be cynical. You're right to want to burn it all down. But let me ask you, if that's your mentality, truly, if that's your mentality, that anyone who disagrees with you is a sellout, that anyone doesn't speak the way you want to be spoke, that you think needs to be spoken is a sellout and a fraud and corrupt, why the fuck are you even watching any of these shows? Why are you involved at all? Why do you care? I'm asking. If it's all for nothing, and it doesn't matter, we heard this about Nina Turner. She's already a sellout before she even gets in there. Oh, we're canceling her because she has a D next to her name. If it's so hopeless, then why don't you get your weed, get your whiskey, get your herbal tea, put on 90 Day Fiancé, and have a good life? Why? Why are you even watching any of these shows? Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I completely agree. And I think, if this does not apply to you, then it shouldn't bother you. If you're feeling like upset by what we're saying, all I'm asking is that you think about it. Think about why you hate Ryan Grimm if you do. Think about why you are canceling Kyle if you are. Just think about it. Where did it start and why are you doing, and why did you think they were good to begin with? Is there really a reason why, a lot of us are in the progressive space because we're independent thinkers, because it's that not me, us mentality. So why aren't we talking policy and like actual issues? Why are the progressives fighting? And I just saw someone just said XYZ channel did a great breakdown of Kyle's video. There we go again, reporting on what someone else, or not reporting, talking about, doing a show about what somebody else said about something that happened. Like,
4 clicks.
It's absurd and it's so crazy. And if people are saying like, oh, you're doing the same thing right now. No, we very specifically are not. We are not continuing the drama. We are not talking what we are talking about specifically right now is the cult-like behavior and thinking among extremely online progressives. That is
And they're not all
the same.
they're not all online. They're not all
Yeah.
online. A lot of them, they're people. They're offline too. So we don't want to minimize you that you're all, online progressives and be condescending. You're human beings that we probably agree on most issues with, and we understand your anger and righteousness. But I'm telling you, this mentality that you have acquired and this hardening that you have acquired, where it's literally all or nothing. That's what this is. All or nothing is going to deprive us of any actual progressive change in this country, in this world. Because I got news for you folks. And with all due respect to Jimmy and Kyle and Crystal and all the commentators, okay? We've seen shit they haven't. We've seen a lot of shit they have not. And TYT. Doesn't make us any better than them that we go in the field. There's a place for everybody. But we have seen the corruption that they comment on and the injustice that they comment on up close and personal. I have sat on porches with little children in Flint that could no longer say the alphabet, that could no longer, doesn't know how to count to 10 anymore because of lead poisoning in their head, their brain, and bodies from contaminated water. I have sat with Native Americans after they were shot by police, and all they were doing was banging on drums. Okay? We have seen things they have not. Jenn just saw literally shit being piped into an autistic trans man's home and a slumlord trying to evict them. Okay? So we have a dynamic, we have a purview and a perspective that maybe they don't. But I am telling you, this corruption in this country did not develop overnight. It has developed over, I'd say, the last half century. Between the money in politics, the military-industrial complex, and many other, the union busting, this has all happened over the last 75 years or so. Not that America was wonderful from the beginning. Obviously, it wasn't. If you genuinely think we are going to even put a dent in this corruption, that we will at all have a chance to get money out of politics in any fashion, at all to get a universal healthcare system, at all to save the planet. It was 120 degrees in Canada the other day. The west coast of America is burning right now, and it's only going to get worse. If you think there's any chance to stop the real-time assassination of black people in this country by police, and on, we could go on and on. If you think there's any chance to do those things, if the sole vessels for true information to the public, speaking about us, independent media, not that we're amazing, but like in reality, there's not so many people actually giving alternative news and fact-based news about capitalism, war, and many other things. If you genuinely think we're going to take any of those things down or even put a crack in it by essentially just fighting amongst ourselves for, in my view, I don't think it's in Jimmy's case, but in other people's cases, growth and click and profit motives. If you genuinely think creating a softcore reality show and spending time fighting each other rather than fighting Nancy Pelosi, rather than fighting ExxonMobil, rather than fighting Blackstone and BlackRock, rather than fighting Big Pharma, rather than fighting, hey, I'm all for shaming the squad. I'm all for protesting outside their offices if they're not going to fight. Keep it civil, keep it peaceful, but I'm all for it. But if you actually think anything is going to change if we're spending all our time in this endless hamster wheel of bullshit, then you're part of the problem. Thank you for watching. We have our members only call in 20 minutes. You will get the link through Zoom soon.
Through email. It's to Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so patrons and members will get access to that. I'll set it up and send it out. Statuscoup.com/join. We will be talking about stuff that we do not talk about on our streams, on our YouTube streams, on our other channels, literally only for members. You can ask us questions. We'll talk. You guys love chatting with each other in the live chat. And if you're on Twitch, chatting there. So it's a great way to like connect with other folks, see each other if you want to turn your camera on, whatever. So join us. It's starting soon, 20 minutes. So join now so I can send you your link. And yeah, we'll definitely see you there. statuscoup.com/join.
And by the way, if you want to cancel us after this, I'm canceling you first. Take care. Bye-bye.
We love you though.